for joining our webinar today. I'm Kim Rayfeld, Director of Media Relations, and I am your host. Our webinars are designed to keep you up to date on what is new with our Symmetry security management system and our services, provide an overview of Symmetry's unique benefits, and help you differentiate your company from others when you partner with us. If you have any questions throughout this webinar, please type them in the Q&A box and we'll address as many as we can at the end of the webinar. What we don't get to at the end of the webinar, we will follow up with you after the webinar. So today we're excited to welcome two newcomers to the webinar. We have AMAG Technology Director of Sales for EMEA and APAC, Mark Williams, and Regional Director of Sales for SAFR, Sarah Bowling. Sarah is going to talk about the features and benefits of SAFR Scan, a computer vision access control device, and Mark will inform us how SAFR Scan integrates with Symmetry Access Control. And as always, I will wrap it up with a short marketing update at the end. AMAG Technology offers a robust, unified, and open security management platform that empowers businesses to effectively secure their facilities, meet compliance, and have peace of mind. While access control is the foundation of what we do here at AMAG, the Symmetry security management system includes video management, identity management, analytics, mobile, visitor management, and intrusion. Symmetry's scalable solutions provide operational insights and intelligence to improve business today and tomorrow. Our solutions also help our reseller channel and end users solve security and compliance challenges. The Symmetry security management system and our ecosystem of best-in-breed technology partners work together to provide a complete solution for you. All of our webinars and much more are available on our YouTube channel, which I invite you to subscribe to. Now it is my pleasure to introduce you to the Director of Regional Sales for SAFR, Sarah Bowling. And Sarah, please make sure that you unmute yourself.
Boy, I'm unmuted. You can hear me, right? Okay. I thought it was another test. I'm so excited to be back. Thanks so much, Kim and AMAG team for having me here. I'm excited to be a relatively new addition to the SAFR team under the Real Networks umbrella, and I'm excited to introduce to you today a product called SAFR Scan. So let's get right to it. Next slide. I mentioned Real Networks. Real Networks is our parent company, having at least 27 years, if not more now, with a multitude of brands under its umbrella. But for 27 plus years, Real Networks has been primarily focused in the software space, really being exceptional in computer vision and analytics. It's only in the last couple of years where the brand SAFR, which initially has been a very successful offering of an enterprise level software solution that acts as an overlay to a VMS to perform multiple types of facial analytics on various video feeds. That's been the core product for many, many years, a couple of decades actually. And now, only in the last year and a half, have we been able to bring all of these analytics to the edge in a product that we call SAFR Scan. So next slide, please. And this is the SAFR Scan. I've got dimensions here. You can see it's a double gang-sized box. What's really unique and lovely about this product, everything from the way it's been designed to how thoughtful the technologies are that have been embedded in this product. What we have here is a gorgeous looking double gang reader, if you will, that is engineered for both indoor and outdoor performance. So that's something unique in this space right away, is that we are IP65 rated and can perform excellently in both indoor and outdoor conditions. We'll talk about lighting in just a moment, but from the design perspective, you can see here there's a light ring, an LED light ring around the outside. This is customizable, as are the welcome messages or access denied, access granted messages. They can be customized for each device. Now, if we're taking a look at what's technologies are embedded in this device, we've got a few things happening. We'll start with the camera. Of course, we're doing facial recognition. What we've done here is taken a really an excellent 2-megapixel camera with wide dynamic capabilities. And normally when you insert a camera or the camera into a device like this, it would have a wide field of view range. What we've done here is taken a wide range camera and we've tipped it 90 degrees so that we can actually focus on maximizing our mounting possibilities for being able to catch faces everywhere, anywhere from an ADA height all the way up to someone who's over 6 feet tall. And as well, we really take total control over the sensors on this camera, which help us optimize the face as a priority for lighting. Now, lighting is a huge issue. Historically, with biometrics, especially in the facial recognition field, lighting is a huge concern. The cameras haven't been able to adapt to bright light or low light conditions and optimize that face for processing. What we're doing here is not only taking control of the sensors to adapt to different lighting conditions, but we're using a couple of different types of lighting technologies, including infrared for low lighting situations and LED white light projectors for bright light. And we'll show you an example of this in just a moment. So lighting is something that historically has been an issue, and we like to say that we've checked the box and we are excellent in adapting to different lighting conditions. Now, multi-factor authentication. We're in a situation where we're still having to replace hardware to keep up with the different technologies that we have for communicating with credentials. What this reader does essentially is give us the ability to not only authenticate with a face, but also multi-factor options. So this device has the option to include an embedded RF card reader that can read both MyFair and HID cards. We also have the ability to attach this device to an external reader that might already be on the wall to support your existing credentials. So you do have that option to have the reader built in or connect to your existing card reader. So that's a second factor for authentication. We also support BLE mobile credential, which is something that's been very popular in the last couple of years. And what we found is that by combining the dual factor authentication option of face and mobile really provides the most touchless, seamless, exceptional user experience that we've seen when it comes to access control. This device is packed full of technology. It also has a microphone. We are in the process of converting that to an intercom situation, but right now it's a push to speak. In a next release, we will have that intercom feature. We're supporting both SIP and Web RTC. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 different types of authentication on top of using a face. So that's the front of the unit. You can see touchscreen. I forgot to mention that would be the fifth. We also have a touchscreen here, so we have the ability to support maybe a pin pad or a QR code as well. So lots of technologies packed in at the edge here for access control at the door. When you flip the device over, you can see the rear terminal connections there on the right-hand side image. We are powered 12 volts DC, but we are also powered by PoE Ethernet connection, so directly to the network. What you can see, it's quite small here, maybe my cursor will run over it, but we have a panel of inputs and outputs here. We're able to support both WeGand and OSDP communications connections for connecting this device either to an existing access control reader that may already sit on the wall if you choose not to do dual authentication with your embedded card reader. We also use these inputs and outputs to connect to the access control panel, the Symmetry panel. We're one of the only, if not the only, device in this space where we offer an end-to-end fully encrypted OSDP solution without needing to add any sort of additional reader expansion module or third-party converter. So it is a seamless end-to-end encrypted OSDP solution if those are the panels that you choose to use. We can also connect to relays, as you can see there on the right. And I think that's everything for rear terminal connections. So let's just pop forward to the next slide so I can show you a couple of the key differentiators between this product and perhaps others in the space. But really what we're doing here with this SAFR Scan, as I mentioned, some historical concerns in the facial recognition space tend to be, one is lighting for sure. So let's look at that really quickly. I mentioned that we utilize a couple of different kinds of lighting technologies to combat different lighting conditions, whether it's indirect sunlight or direct sunlight, low light, no light. We do something called face priority auto exposure. It has to do with the way we've designed the unit and deployed the camera, and also how when we're looking for faces, we're prioritizing the face first, and we sort of do whatever we need to do to the background image in order to prioritize that face for processing. So you can see a couple of examples here. Next slide, please. Same thing with low light or no light conditions, utilizing infrared technology so that when the scan is in its low powered waiting state, constantly searching for faces, it will use that sort of zero light infrared lighting technology to catch anything in that space. Once a face is detected, the screen will light up, first using infrared light to try to do the match. But if that doesn't work, we fade in our white LED lighting so that we can optimize that face for matching. So let's see it. Let's see this in action. If you don't mind, Jamie, just playing the video, and we'll show you a couple of examples of how phenomenally well this product works in all lighting conditions. So extreme lighting. We'll see Steve here walking as the sun's going down. Strong backlight. His face was prioritized immediately and was granted access without any issues of that strong backlight. Seems like the video is playing very slowly, so I apologize for that, but we can see that Steve was granted access. Recognized, you can see a green heart beside his name, which we'll touch on in a moment, but it also indicated that he was a live person. So dark hallway, this would be another lighting issue. As he walks closer to the camera, the light is darker on his face, but with our ability to dynamically adjust our sensors, we've got his face optimized it's really in real time. So again, this seems to be moving much slower. And here's an awesome example of a vehicle gate access. We're looking into doing many gate entry applications. Here's Steve's rolling up. He's got some backlight issues happening. This video in real time, I hate that I have to explain this, but in real time, his face was detected almost instantaneously and access was granted immediately. And the distance between his car window and the reader was 50 inches in that case. So back to the slide deck, please, Jamie. A second major concern when it comes to biometrics, especially facial recognition, is presentation attacks. Presentation attack detection means, can we tell the difference between someone trying to spoof the camera by presenting either a photograph of somebody else or even an image or a video of themselves, of somebody else on their phones? So this is something that we have to combat in this arena. And what SAFR has done is been able to deploy a couple of liveness technologies inside the SAFR Scan, so that when a person presents themselves to the SAFR Scan, within a second, you're not only getting your face matched against the database and being, processed for access control, but we're also doing a liveness check. And we use two liveness technologies. One is structured light for 3D liveness. It's sort of, when you look at that layer of lighting, it looks like black and white pixels all over your face for context, and then RGB liveness. So if again you look at this layer on the video, it would look more like a heat map of the face to determine that it's actually a real person. Where this is also really efficient and important when we move into the enrollment segment, we have the ability to do bulk enrollment through your AMAG Symmetry system of cardholder records with 2D images attached to each cardholder record. So that might be your badge ID or a photo that you have. All of these 2D images, are synced with the SAFR database and stored at the edge on the scan device for matching, for immediate matching. But that's a 2D image. So the second I walk up to that device for the very first time, my face is being matched against a 2D image of myself, but the liveness detection technologies are ensuring that I'm actually the real version of myself. So it's quite impressive, and it's certainly something that's needed in this space. Next slide, please. So the third and most constant historical concern in facial recognition is bias. For years, I've been in this industry 22 years, for years I've heard, well, these facial recognition cameras, they don't work. They either don't work in lighting, as we know, or the most common concern that I've heard in many of the groups that I've talked to, especially in the last year, is, well, they're biased. They can't tell the difference between people with the same skin tone, gender, ethnicity, etc. This is where SAFR really excels in this space, and it is absolutely because we have a 20 some odd year history in algorithms, developing algorithms and AI and computer learning. So the SAFR algorithms were actually developed to minimize bias, and we are the only company that does not outsource our data sets to a third party. So what that looks like, if you look at the faces on the right, this would be an example of a data set that would be outsourced for facial recognition readers to do their machine learning and to develop their algorithms. These faces are posed, they're still, they're well lit, we call them visa faces. And this is where some of those inherent bias issues have come to light with other products. What SAFR is doing that's very different is that we use homegrown data sets that are purpose-built for reducing bias while maintaining high accuracy. So the faces that we test on are live moving videos and faces they're called faces in the wild, or wild faces. Faces that are unaware of the camera, they're in motion, they're occluded. So what this allows us to do is continually develop data sets that are reduced in bias. And so we continually score the highest when we're having our algorithms tested. So next slide, please. NIST, the National Institute of Standards and Technologies, is an institution, a group that continually tests, among other things, facial recognition data sets, algorithms for things like accuracy, speed of recognition, and how large or small their model size is. SAFR consistently scores the highest, as you can see that green arrow going up and to the right. Real Networks SAFR continually scores the highest for accuracy of faces in the wild and for quickness of recognition. And we have the smallest model in the cohort of the most accurate facial recognition algorithms for faces in the wild. What does this mean? It means that our algorithms can be stored on a very small processor, which then actually equates to being able to utilize a smaller server, a less expensive server. What that does is it drives our costs down and allows us to bring a product to the market at a fraction of the cost that you've seen in the past. So we're bringing in a product at a great price point, and we're giving you the best of the best when it comes to speed and analytics. So next slide, please. I'll be transitioning to Mark in just one moment. We have 3 very effective and efficient ways to enroll cardholders or users in our system. What Mark will be presenting today is how we enroll through the existing access control software, AMAG Symmetry, and he'll show you how we can also utilize the mobile app for enrollment as well as enrolling at the device, so we can remotely enroll anywhere in the world. Next slide, please. But the last thing I'll say before I transition to Mark, I've explained to you that we have this beautiful edge device that is completely prepared for not only retrofit environments, but future-proofing access control environments at the edge, being able to offer multi-factor authentication in this beautiful edge device. But on top of that, we're still an analytics company. So we offer multiple advanced analytics at the edge. So on top of the access control that you're getting, you also have the ability to receive real-time data, including dwell and traversal times. We offer analytics that include facial authentication, of course, tailgating, person of interest or watch list, or be on the lookout BOLO lists, so being able to identify VIPs or maybe the bad guys, and people counting, occupancy. These are 3 huge analytic packages that you would normally have to outsource to even another software company. We're bringing all of this to the edge in the SAFR Scan. So it's a very powerful package. things, if you start to, you're designing your access control system, but you're also wanting to work with your customers that are thinking ahead and thinking of their smart buildings, wanting to tie in data into their building automation systems, their occupancy counting to optimize their building systems, things like this. These analytics will prove very, very powerful in the future of your ecosystems as you're designing your access control system. So with that rush through, I'll pass it to Mark to bring us home and show you this strong integration between AMAG, Symmetry, and SAFR Scan. So thank you.
Sarah, really good overview of how SAFR Scan works. Just want to take a quick step back. One of the traditional issues that all biometric systems have faced when required to be integrated with access control systems is how you enroll people. And often that's manifested itself in two sets of software or two systems where you invoke somebody else's software from within your own, but also in-person enrollment. And I think COVID has made us all want frictionless access control and to do everything in a frictionless way if we can. And one of the things that's pretty unique with the SAFR integration is how it actually integrates with Symmetry. So we're going to take a look at that now. So the integration is actually a server-to-server integration, and the two components will auto sync with each other. So SAFR Scan and Symmetry actually integrate at that server level. So Jamie, if we can take a look at the next slide. So this is a typical Symmetry Access Control cardholder screen. And if you enroll someone within the Symmetry system in a traditional way, you collect their info, or you input their information into the system, and you capture a stored image or take a live image in person, that information will be automatically transferred over to the SAFR system. However, and I think Sarah alluded to this earlier, the system will read whatever data is in the Symmetry system. So if that data has been imported using our Data Connect utility, for example, from a HR system, and that HR database already has stored images, guess what? Once they're into Symmetry, they'll be auto-synced into the SAFR system, and there is no separate enrollment at all required. So that process is completely seamless to the operator and to the user. And so we've had one or two issues with the videos. We have a video on this, but I'm not going to show that because it'll probably take a little too long to run. So Jamie, we can go to the next slide. One of the other benefits that you potentially have here is that for those of you familiar with the Symmetry mobile app, where users are invited to join the mobile credential environment within Symmetry, one of the features you have there is the ability to actually take a selfie that gets approved by HR or security, whoever in your environment runs that process. Once that approval has taken place, you're in the Symmetry database, and also by extension, you're in the SAFR database. So that means not only do we now have through SAFR frictionless access control, we actually now have frictionless enrollment as well. So individuals in the post-COVID world that are hybrid working, don't go to offices very often, guess what? You can now enroll them into a state-of-the-art frictionless biometric system remotely. And that's a key benefit. Next slide, please, Jamie. So how does this actually work? So the SAFR system itself has multiple options for biometric template management effectively. So that could be a simple browser to a single device, or it could be a mobile app for multiple readers, or in the case of the integration that AMAG is using, it's actually a SAFR server that allows template distribution to multiple SAFR readers. So the process and data flow is data captured in Symmetry or imported into Symmetry, auto-synced into SAFR Scan, but the integration at the reader level is very, very simple. The SAFR reader, as we saw earlier, supports both Wiegand and OSDP outputs and indeed inputs. And so this device is compatible with the AMAG M2150 series using Wiegand and WIMS, but it's also compatible with M4000 using OSDP. So that integration is very simple in terms of wiring in the field. And at the head end, it's completely transparent to the user and to the operator. So it's truly frictionless access control and frictionless enrollment. And I'm going to hand it back to Kim Rayfeld now.
Thank you, Sarah and Mark, for that great overview. We're really excited about this new integration. So next slide, please. If you want to learn more about SAFR and Symmetry, please visit AMAG's YouTube channel and click on the playlist that's called On the Show Floor. There you'll find a short video about the integration and how it works. And then SAFR also has a YouTube channel with some great videos that explain how the product works. So both YouTube links are listed there on the slide. And then as always, you can always contact your regional manager, your regional sales manager, or reach out to Mark Williams here for more information. So let's see, we maybe have time for one question and then we're going to wrap it up. And as I said earlier, whatever questions we don't get to, we will be sure and answer in the thank you email that you'll all be getting in the next day or two. So let's see. One question was, how does the unit handle crowds? I don't know, Mark, can you take that one? Or Sarah, I'm not sure who.
I think it's really for Sarah, that one. Oh, Sarah, you're on mute.
Please unmute yourself, Sarah.
I think this one's really for Steve McMillan, who I know is on the phone, because he's been working with this so closely. But the short answer is I mean, the SAFR scan might be recognizing multiple faces if you're in the sort of field of view, but it's when you show intent that one person goes through at a time. And especially if it's, let's say it's dual factor, maybe you have a mobile credential and your face, the device might recognize multiple mobile credentials in the same area, but until that face is there to show intent and to be authenticated, it's not going to match the two and open the door. But Steve, is there anything you'd like to add to that? I think you're there. Steve McMillan is our head of engineering.
I don't think he's not on as a panelist.
Yeah, in case Steve can't speak, I can also attest, Sarah, that when we had this in a live trade show environment in Dubai, we were trying always to confuse it. The system will recognize multiple faces, but as you say, when you come within the focal length of the camera, it will pick up the image of a face, and then it'll authenticate it. And if there's another one in the image to the side, when that moves in, it picks up what's in its focal length.
Okay.
Someone mentioned, there's one thing I should mention, Kim, because I saw a quick question. Someone was asking about facial recognition for changes in the face. If someone's wearing a mask or grows a beard or is wearing glasses or a hat, we perform really well. We actually have an identification. If you are wearing a mask, you'll see a little notification in our software that shows this person is wearing a mask. So we do full facial recognition analysis, and we also do ocular region analysis. So if you're thinking, you know, a surgeon with a mask and a hat and gloves and whatever, and we're just looking at the ocular region, that assists us when people are wearing occlusions or occluded on the face.
Wonderful. Thank you. That's awesome. So any questions that we did not get to here between Mark and Sarah and Steve and myself, we will answer them all and we will send them out to you within the next day or two. So thank you to Sarah and Mark for presenting on today's webinar, and thank you to Jamie, who is driving the bus and working the magic behind the scenes. If you have any questions again about Symmetry, please reach out to your local AMAG salesperson who can set up a meeting with you. And as always, the full webinar and previous webinars will be on our YouTube channel. As soon as we end this webinar, a short survey will pop up in your browser. Please take a moment to fill that out so we can make sure that we're always delivering you guys the best information possible. So thank you for joining us today. We hope you have a wonderful day, and please join us on our next webinar, which will be March 21st, where we're going to do an ISC West sneak preview. Watch your inbox for details. Thanks again.